Have you ever been too lazy to do something only to make the situation 10 times worse? Well, the irony of laziness is that sometimes it creates even more work. And this was the propensity in my life until one day. But in order to give you the full story, I have to give you a little bit of background information. So, I'm assuming that all of you have had your first car, or at least driven before. Now, junior year of high school, my parents decided that it was a good idea to buy a used car for my brother and I so that we would know the responsibilities of owning a car. Now, this was a stereotypical first car. It was a cute little BMW 2002, and I know what you're thinking, 2002, that's like 14 years old. No, that was the name of the model. It was a 1974 car. It was well over twice my age. And unlike the cars that are basically self-driving with a lot of new technology and backup cameras that we have today, no, this car needed my help to do just about everything. Starting with unlocking the car, it didn't have a fob that you could press a button and unlock. You had to walk all the way to the door and unlock it with your key. And continuing on with that, once you were driving the car, it didn't know how to shift gears. You had to do that yourself. And a lot of people think this is really impressive, and honestly, it's not that bad, except for the fact that my gearbox didn't have any labels, so you didn't know what gear you were shifting into until you did it. So a lot of times in the beginning of my driving, I would shift from first gear to fourth gear without knowing until all of a sudden my car felt like it had gained 4,000 pounds, and I was chugging along the street making some weird grinding noise, and it was just bad. It also didn't have a working air conditioning or heat, which I live in a pretty mild weathered zone, so it wasn't that bad, except for those occasional days in the summer when I wanted to feel the cool breeze, and then I just have to roll down my window. Manually, of course. It had a little crank that you had to roll down. There was no button, and then you had to roll it back up when you were done. And then for heat, it was just the cold winter days that I had to bring a blanket in my car. And in the mornings when I was driving to school or late at night when there was no sun, I had to turn the light on myself with a little switch that you pulled, and then you had to remember to turn it off when you got out of the car, otherwise the lights would stay on while you were not using the car. And sometimes I forgot to do that, so there was this one time I drove to school, it was kind of foggy, so I turned on my lights, and then I forgot to turn them off. And I got back after a long day of school to a dead battery, and then I had to wait for the next student driver to come out so they could jumpstart my car. And lastly, and probably the worst of all, this car had no power steering, which essentially means that I'm overcoming friction of the street and my tires with sheer muscle force. Now, don't get me wrong, this car had an amazing turning radius. I was just too weak to use it. So now that you know a little bit about my car, I'm here to tell you how it influenced my laziness. So one night in the summer, my friends and I had just got back from the bonfire, and it was a kind of chilly night with the ocean breeze and the cold sand. And so we decided that it was a good idea to go hot tubbing at one of my friends' house. So we all jump into my car and I drive over. I turn onto a street, and of course, all of the parking spots on the right side are taken. But all of the parking spots on the left side are fine. They're completely empty, so I think I'll just make a U-turn, pull into that parking spot, and we're good to go hot tubbing. Now, my car can and has made complete U-turns on just average-sized streets before, and since the next intersection was a couple blocks away, I decided I'll just make the U-turn here. So I start making the U-turn, and I pull, and I pull, and I pull on the steering wheel, and I start going. Now, my friend in the passenger seat says, "Aliya, you're approaching the sidewalk. You might want to stop and make a three-point turn just to be safe." And I think, wow, I am way too lazy to do that. Making a three-point turn in this car is so difficult because you have to turn the wheel all the way to one side without moving, back up, turn it all the way back to the other side, and then go forward again. And with no power steering, I did not want to break a sweat over this parking spot, which I had done before. So I decided I'll just continue on with my U-turn. It's fine. They've done it before, this car. So I continue on, slower this time because obviously going slower would help with the turn, until I hit the telephone pole. My first car accident. And everyone is a bit in shock, so we all jump out of my car and assess the damage. And my car is fine, and the telephone pole is fine, and it's just stuck. It's jammed in the telephone pole with the little metal part. I can't move my car. So we're in a little bit of a panic. We put my car in neutral. We try pushing and pulling, and nothing's happening. And so in desperation, we call my friend's parents out, and they're family friends. So I think they're wise. They know how to do it. They won't tell my parents or anything. They'll just secretly help me, and it'll all be fine. No one has to know about this. To which their response is, of course, laughing at me, taking pictures and sending them to my parents, and then going inside to get a toolbox to then take my front bumper off of my car so we can get this unstuck. Now, I did not want that to happen, and I don't know what happened between the time that all of us were pushing and now, but the friend that warned me not to make this U-turn decides that he can become the Hulk and single-handedly lifts my car up and gets it unjammed from the telephone pole, and I quickly jump into my car and park it, and then we're all fine. I'm safe. Everything is good. Now, I know in retrospect, this first car accident doesn't seem as bad as most. No one got hurt. There's nothing damaging on my car. The telephone pole is still standing. So no one would really know that this happened except our memories. And let me tell you, my friend has not let me live this moment down. But that's a good thing because it reminds me, and I'm here to remind you, that it's better to put in that little extra effort in the moment to prevent an even worse situation.
All right.